friends. Let me get rid of this real quick. There we go. Hey, friends. Hey, how are y'all doing? I'm so happy to be here today. We are going to be discussing The Last of the Dreamwalkers by Rita Woods. This is an amazing book. Also, hold on 1 second, friends, before we jump into that. Happy Hoodoo Heritage Month. October is Hoodoo Heritage Month. For those of y'all who are not aware, hoodoo is the spiritual practice that was created by enslaved African Americans when we were brought over to this country. It is when we were kidnapped and brought over to this country. It is a combination of our practices back in Africa. And I'm being like a little sketchy about that because when we were brought over here, a lot of those countries that exist today, they weren't exist. There was no Nigeria. There was no Sierra Leone. Those countries did not have names. They didn't even get their independence until like much, much later. So that's why I'm kind of being a little sketchy about that. But anyway, happy Hoodoo Heritage Month. Y'all know every time y'all come and talk to me, we're going to have to do a little history lesson to make sure we're all on the same page. So the book that we are going to be talking about today is, again, The Last of the Dreamwalkers by Rita Woods. It is based in the Gullah-Geechee area, North Carolina, South Carolina region. And it's full of hoodoo, which is part of the reason why I picked it. Magical realism. It's a wonderful, wonderful book. So why don't we just jump right in? Let me do this real quick. Also, y'all, just so we're all I am recovering from having bronchitis. So y'all getting about maybe 70% lovely, 75% lovely, but I'm going to do my best. And if you are noticing any kind of low energy or me being a little bit off, it's that I got bronchitis. Ain't nobody got time for that. 10 points if you know where that's from. That's a meme. Y'all know I'm always talking in memes. Okay. So let's just dive on in. I want to make this bigger, y'all. Excuse me. I think I need to do this. Not this one, but this one. That's not exactly what I want to do, but that's okay, friends. Full screen layout. This is what I want to do. Hello. Boom. Okay. So, like I said, like I keep saying, this is the book that we are discussing today, The Last of the Dreamwalkers by Rita Woods, or I keep saying The Last Dreamwalker by Rita Woods. Okay, but before we jump into that, we are going to talk, we're going to have a few announcements, just 3 quick announcements. So let me make sure. There we go. Okay, so we are going to be hosting a Slow Down and Stitch session at Lamb Library. That's going to be this Saturday, the 18th, from 10:30 to 11:30. Ages 13 and older, join us for this once-a-month session where stitching meets meditation. Create beautiful fabric projects while focusing on the present moment while supplies last. So y'all come on down. If you have the time, we'd love to have you. There's usually some snacks, good company. You can bring your unfinished projects and complete them here with us in community. Maybe get some help on them. Maybe just be in community with people who love to do fiber arts as well. The next announcement is on the 21st of October here at Lamb Library from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. There are going to be Senator Hickenlooper's constituent advocate team here at Lamb Library, ages 18 and older. Senator Hickenlooper's constituent advocates offer assistance with federal programs or agencies. The office can assist with passport applications, Department of Veteran Affairs benefits, small business administration programs, and more. Emphasis on the and more. If none of those things that I just said was something that you had a concern about, you can still come. You're part of the and more. Tell them what you want them to know. They are the senator's advocate team. So hey, come and make them advocate for you. All right. And the third announcement, last but definitely not least, we are going to be having the Horror Cafe Book Club. That's going to be on the 27th of October at 7 p.m. That's a Monday night. It's going to be here at Lamb Library. They're going to be discussing the book, Something Wicked This Way Comes. 18 and older. That's not true. You could just come. You don't have to be 18. This month's book is Something Wicked This Way Comes by Ray Bradbury. Light refreshments, including espresso drinks, are provided. That, I don't feel, does justice to the that book. Yeah, that's one of my, I love Ray Bradbury. He's an excellent author. You can't go wrong reading anything by this man. If he is the father of modern sci-fi, Octavia Butler is the godmother of it. This is one of the scariest things I ever read when I was a little kid, and I hope you guys come and participate. If you have read this book, you also need to read The Halloween Tree and watch that as well. Ray Bradbury was just an amazing author, so I hope that you guys get a chance to come and join in with that discussion. Okay, so now let's talk about Miss Rita Woods. Rita Woods was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. She received a BS in microbiology from Purdue University before graduating from Howard University College of Medicine. She completed her training at Creighton University in Omaha, Nebraska, and currently serves as medical director of a wellness center that provides care for members of one of the largest trade unions in the nation. Rita lives in suburban Chicago with her family, where she also serves as a trustee on her local library board. We love that. We love that. Be involved in your community wherever you can, however you can. Let's see. She loves magic, books, history, coffee, and traveling. Not necessarily in that order. She is the author of the award-winning novel Remembrance. All right. And this is our narrator, Nedra Marie Taylor. Nedra Marie Taylor, formerly known as Nedra's. Ooh, honey, I'm sorry, Nedra. Nedra has some other last names. It's all her, y'all. That's all I'm basically trying to say. She was raised in Mitchville, Maryland by James and Rose McClyde. A former biology major, she studied theater and dance at the University of Richmond and earned an MFA in acting at the Actors Studio Drama School. As of 2022, she resides in Brooklyn, New York. You also might recognize her from, let me see if I can make this smaller because I need to be able to access. Nope, I just made it bigger, child. You might recognize her from several TV shows that she's been on. She was on Orange is the New Black. She was on a Apple or HBO show called Surveillance. I can't remember. Y'all know I don't have a TV, honey. She's definitely been in a lot of TV shows. Elementary, the one with, not Michelle Yeoh. Child, forgive me. She was a Charlie's Angel. Lucy Liu, that one. It was called Elementary. She was been on that show. She does a lot of TV acting. She really did this book justice. Her acting skills really brought out the drama. I think she did really, really well with the Gullah-Geechee dialect, which is if you're not a Gullah-Geechee speaker, it's not an easy dialect to do or a language to speak. I find it easy. But I had elders who spoke Gullah-Geechee, so I grew up hearing it quite a bit. No, I will not be speaking that for y'all on today. I will play a video of Queen Quet, the chiefess of the Gullah-Geechee nation, just in case some of y'all you read the book and you didn't actually listen to the, let's white balance. Oh, it's just disappearing. Whoop, it's gone. It's back, it's gone. Anyway, in case you just only read the book and you didn't do the audio version, I'm going to see if I can't play a clip so that you can hear what the characters in this book sound like when they are speaking Geechee, because it's a beautiful language and I think it needs to be heard. I grew up listening to it and hearing it, and so I always find comfort in it when I hear somebody else speaking it. Let me see if I cannot exit this big old screen, because I don't think I need to be full screen anymore because I really can't see what I'm doing. Okay, let's go to, I might pop it back in and pop it back out. Okay, Now, since we've done all of that, let's go to the next one. Book awards and synopsis. Okay, so I do need to make this bigger so I can see it. There we go. So from Hurston Wright Legacy Award-winning author Rita Woods, The Last Dreamwalker tells the story of two women separated by nearly 2 centuries, yet inextricably linked by the Gullah-Geechee Islands off the coast of South Carolina, and their connection to a mysterious and extraordinary gift passed from generation to generation. All right, let's see. Do we have the next slide? Let me go on and see if I can read the back of this. All right, let's do that. So here's just a bit of a synopsis. Let's go back. In the wake of her mother's passing, Layla Hurley unexpectedly reconnects to her mother's sisters, women she hasn't been allowed to speak to or of in years. Her aunts reveal to Layla that a Gullah-Geechee island off the shore of South Carolina now belongs to her. As Layla digs deeper into her mother's past and the mysterious island's history, she discovers that the terrifying nightmares that have plagued her throughout her life and tainted her relationship with her mother and all of her family are actually a power passed through generations of her Gullah ancestors. She is a dream walker, able to inhabit the dreams of others and to manipulate them. As Layla uncovers increasingly dark secrets about her family's past, she finds herself thrust into the center of a potentially deadly decades-old feud fought in the dark corridor of dreams. So that's basically the synopsis of the story, which I find fascinating. Okay, so we're going to now just talk a little bit about some of the tropes. Inheritance, legacy, family, trauma, secrets, power, agency, mother-daughter relationships, and just the overall Southern Gothic aesthetic. Let me see. I feel like I'm missing something in here. We're going to talk about all these things, maybe not in that order and in that particular order, but we will be talking about it. Let me see something here. I'm going to do one thing here. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. I am just going to, I need to see something. Make sure I shared it out properly. Okay, I did. I shared it out properly. Perfect. All right. Now we don't have to worry about that anymore. Whoops. Okay. All righty. Let's see. Excuse me, y'all. All right, so why don't we jump into these discussion questions? Here is where I'm going to have to, I think, pop over and share my screen if I remember how to do that properly on here. Where are my questions? I think, yep, that's that. And then let's see if I can make this bigger. I don't feel like I can on here to make it a big screen. I don't even know if it's being shared at the moment. Let me check my phone. Real quick, y'all. 1 second, friends. 1 second. Let's see what y'all seeing. Because who knows? Oh, it just says discussion questions over there still. Okay, let me see how to make sure I can share this. Pardon me, y'all. It's not a live stream with Lovely if we don't have some kind of technical difficulties. Let's see. Manage later. No, we don't want to do that. Screen share is what I want to do. Pardon me while I figure this out. Y'all think if I sing enough, it'll help? Ah, there we go. Screen share. Share screen. Bloop. Bloop. Share. Bam. Okay, this is what I'm trying to share with y'all. So here are our questions that we will be running through. Hopefully we'll get through all of them, but honestly, y'all, it's going to depend on my energy, and my energy is saying, child, good luck with that. Let me see. Thank you for the like. Somebody just liked the page. I saw that. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I'm just trying to make sure that it's actually sharing my screen. It says that it is. Oh, look. Okay, it's just a little bit behind. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, so we are sharing. Okay, so let's jump into these questions. So question number 1, after her mother's unexpected death, Layla learns that her mother, Eleanor, has been withholding generational and historical secrets. How did you feel about Eleanor's decision to leave the past behind and start a new life? Okay, so we're going to stop sharing this tab for 1 second. We're going to go back over here and make ourselves big. Okay. Bam. Okay, so Eleanor was up to a whole bunch of stuff, y'all. Eleanor was up to a whole bunch of things. If you have not read this book, if you did not get to finish reading this book, you have been warned. I'm finna spoil a whole bunch of things. Please pause, come back, rewatch this, turn the volume down or whatever. Child, I believe everything that Charlotte was saying about Eleanor. Charlotte and Eleanor were close. Their family has the ability to dream walk and influence other people by getting into their heads and while everybody's sleeping. They're dream walkers. In the book, if you remember, their ancestor from Africa, I think her name was Nala. It started with an N. I do not remember that lady's name. Sorry to that lady. But she was able to warn her tribe that they were about to get sold into slavery. Somehow she still got caught up in it. Everybody else was gone, but she got caught up in it. I do believe it was the hubris of a man. The man that she was pledged to be wed to, sold them all. So that is where they got the power from. Now, it's supposed to have been passed down from... Sorry, y'all, my shoe doing some wonderful stuff over here. Third daughter, the third daughter of a third daughter. That is how you knew who was going to be a dream walker. In the case of Layla and her family, one of the third daughters was a twin, and not just any old kind of twin, because even twins got to come out one at a time, unless they're conjoined twins. So that's what happened. Something in that conjoining of the twins caused something to happen to make it so that even though Layla wasn't the third daughter of a third daughter, she still was a dream walker. Now, I want to jump into kind of talk about that a little bit too. Oftentimes, you'll hear people talk about things like in threes or in fours or whatever. And who do fours more of a magical number than 3? Because it follows the cardinal directions and whatnot. But I think another way to explain why Layla was able to be a dream walker, even though she wasn't a third of a third, is sometimes our ancestors, any kind of folk magic or thing like that, they are explaining what they are seeing. Like they know that they have this ability to dream walk. They have seen it so long that it has become a predictable pattern. I think they were just describing genetics. I think they were describing, hey, ever so often in our genetic line, about this often, this particular trait shows up. So, like, for instance, if I'm not explaining that well, for instance, there is a folk tale or folklore in Australia that the Aboriginal people there tell their children. I don't remember which mob it is. I'm sorry, because it's in Australia, and I'm also sorry if I ain't supposed to be calling y'all Aboriginal. I think we've talked about this before, and I really can't remember. I'm gonna blame it on all the medication I'm on. But cousins, I don't mean to be disrespectful. Anywho, there is a folktale that they tell to children. First of all, they say, hey, don't be outside after dark. Don't be outside after dark, or this monster will get you. If you do happen to find yourself outside after dark, you need to climb a tree so this monster won't get you. So people would, say, ha ha, that's just an old wives' tale, a folklore tale, if you will. Come to find out, it was not just a folk tale. It wasn't just an old wives' tale. A lot of, and I hate when they say that, because a lot of old wives' tale contain a lot of wisdom. They later found out some prehistoric bones of this animal that was about 3 feet tall, about the size of a small child, who was nocturnal and couldn't lift its neck more than like 30 degrees. So they were warning their children, don't go outside after dark. Why? Because the animal is nocturnal. Why specifically the children? Because it was a bit bigger than the smallest child. And why climb a tree? Because he couldn't lift his neck above a certain degree. And if you got up a tree, you was safe. So I said all that to say this. A lot of times things that we attribute to folk tales and old white tales, it's disrespectful because you are not acknowledging the wisdom of the people who are connected to a specific land, environment, and region. And you're just poo-pooing what they're telling you because you don't think they know anything. You think they're stupid. And these people are experts on the land that they live on, scientists, if you will, botanists, if you will, astronomers. Not if you will, they are. Just because it doesn't come in a package that is digestible for the Western mind doesn't mean these people are dumb. It means you need to expand your concepts. Anywho, I think that's what was going on with Layla's family as far as the third daughter of a third daughter, and why Layla was still able to dreamwalk, even though she was not a third daughter. Also, they did say something happened when those conjoined twins were born, and something twisted the magic or made it jump. I don't know. I think something happened way before with Gemma, but we'll get to Gemma in a minute. All right. Family legacy is a core theme of the novel. How did you respond to Layla's unexpected inheritance? What would you have done in her situation? Well, I thought it was interesting that Layla, according to her mom, an irresponsible child who kept getting jobs without dental insurance. And honestly, though, Layla, you got to keep up with your teeth, friend. You do. You got to keep up with, ask somebody who spent thousands of dollars on their teeth, because I didn't keep up with my teeth. Your mama was right. You need to have dental insurance, because them teeth, boy, if you don't have your teeth right, your cholesterol will go up because all this weird stuff floating in you. Anyway, your mom was right about that, Layla. But as far as what would I have done in Layla's situation, for a lot of people who don't know, the islands are across North and South Carolina, Gullah-Geechee Nation, how that land has been being taken from the Black people who have inhabited it. They're losing their land to not only erosion, but to non-Gullah people. They've been tricked out of their land that they own by their rights, because now it's becoming valuable. Just like in the book, there are developers who come that want to build golf courses or condos or oceanfront property or whatever, without any regards to the people who have been there and have rights to the land. If you remember in the book, Gemma and Charlotte were very irritated with people coming because they kept saying that the Ogra, which is what they called white people in this book, would come and just twist whatever deeds or documents that you have to suit their purposes. And also too, I have a video because, like I said, I wanted you guys to be able to hear what Gullah-Geechee sounds like. So why don't we do that now? If I can, let's see. We're going to share a screen again. Let me see if I can't find it. Not manage layouts, but I think it's here. It's share screen. And we are going to share this one. Share. Okay, so this is Queen Quet. The person's voice you're hearing is Queen Quet. I just want you to hear what she sounds like so you can hear what Gullah-Geechee sounds like. Okay, let's go.
Inland to the St. John's River. Now, Gullah is also a language Now, from that language, like any other language of the world, you have a dialect. Geechee essentially is a dialect of the Gullah language. It is also what linguists would call the pidgin or bridge language. So if you heard Gullah, people are cracking teeth like this and thing like that, and yam pun the quarter and thing like that, I tell jokes and all that kind of wonder, then yeti Gullah. But now when people start to give us the normal look we get, like, huh? You know, people will say, okay, all right, okay, look young. Put out a wine you want and thing like that. Forget that, put it and bring them over here so we can have some for Nampa and seasoning. Then you'll start to hear Geechee because people will start to now borrow words, take loan words from American English, not unlike Spanglish.
We were all these different tribes that spoke different languages. And so since we needed.
So that is why I got that video. Did you hear Queen Quet? It's such a beautiful, beautiful dialect and language. Also, by the way, one of our librarians actually went to high school with Queen Quet. I was mentioning it several weeks ago, and I said something about Queen Quet. And immediately she was like, "Oh, Marquetta, I know her. I went to high school with her." I thought that was amazing. I think that librarian who went to high school with her is pretty cool too. Anywho, as you were saying, as you were hearing, it's like it's a dialect of a language, and it's a pidgin as well. To me, it reminds me very much of how my grandmother from East Texas talked. It was a type of pidgin as well. And when them people from East Texas get to talking so fast, my goodness, Texans are already the fast talkers of the South, but you get I call it East Texas patois. That's what it sounds like to me. You got to get the rhythm. It's like doing double Dutch. Anywho, I find comfort in hearing the Gullah-Geechee spoken. I can understand it very well. I can speak it as well too. But again, I won't be sharing that with none of y'all. Y'all ain't getting access to that. Not from me. Not from me. Anywho, let me be quiet if I say some stuff. Like I haven't already said some stuff. Anywho, right. Let's do the next question. Let me see if I'm gonna share this screen. Share my questions. Also, please remember to share this live stream. Go ahead and share the live stream out. It lets the algorithm know that you like what I'm doing, you like what I'm putting out. It will share it with other people. So I appreciate it if you would share share the live stream. Sorry, y'all. And also like the page. Again, let the algorithm know that you like what I'm doing and you want to hear some more of it. All right, let's see. I think I already talked about this, but we can do it some more. We got some time. First of all, let me see what the comment sections are looking like. If y'all have any questions, please post them in the comment section. Oh, you know what I should do? I'm gonna post this here while I'm doing this. I'm gonna pop over to this page real quick. And you guys talk amongst yourself. I'm going to post a comment so that people can go and hear Gullah-Geechee being spoken. All right. Let me post that. That way, if you want to hear it later, this is for you replay viewers. Hello, replay viewers. I don't think I greeted any of y'all. I'm sorry, y'all. Boy, they got me on. What am I on? Prednisone and amoxicillin. One of them make me aggressive. They both make me aggressive. I can breathe and stuff, but now I'm like, yeah, I can breathe. Yeah, fight. So I can breathe, but they make me aggressive and suppress my appetite and make me hungry. Both of them, they're doing different things. It's like a monster within fighting. Which, hey, let's talk about it because it's a part of this book too. Okay, I posted that. All right, I done forgot what I was doing, y'all. I'm so sorry. Oh, I was looking how to share my screen again so I can share my question. You know what, y'all? That's okay. We're just gonna keep talking. All right. The gift of dream. This is question number 3. If you got the questions, we're on question number 3. The gift of dream walking is passed down to the women in the family, the third daughter of a third daughter, until it transforms and is passed down to the sole daughter, as in the case of Layla. What do you believe is the significance of women holding this distinct power? How would you use this gift if you inherited it? Okay, so they're talking about what is the significance of women holding this power. I think that the reason why they gave it to women is because women can bear life. They can hold life. They can take a seed and grow it. And I think that they did that because maybe women could anchor themselves more in reality because of having wombs, being able to grow life inside of them. And I guess if you think about it, being able to enter people's dreams is a type of responsibility, and probably something that needed to be nurtured and being really careful of. I also think it might have been given to women as a power that men could not possess because of the nature of the physical power imbalance. It really kind of depends. It could have been a matrilineal society that these people stemmed from as well. It could have been something that was a gift given from a deity. And we're going to talk about deities in this book as well, or before the live is up as well too, because she does mention some deities. But I'm thinking more of the Orisha and not the Greek story she was mentioning. It could have though come from one of them, and so oftentimes they tend to favor people who are already in their house. But also, I just think that the reason why it was given to women is because they're the ones that are bearing the children. And you have to train up a dream walker so that they don't get tainted and corrupted. Considering what happened in this story, just imagine if men were dream walkers. Boy, it would have turned out way, way worse. Because to be quite honest, spoilers, if I was Gemma, I don't know that Gemma was wrong. I know that she, in the end, went mad because she was holding so tightly onto the idea that Scotia was going to be freedom for her and her children. It turned out to be a prison. But she was enslaved. And while I don't necessarily condone what she did, I understand. And I would like to think highly of myself and think that I would not risk madness for my freedom. But I don't think so. I mean, I think everybody likes to think highly of themselves, but I'm trying to be honest. And what does she have to lose? What does she have to lose? She was already enslaved by her father. That old white man in the book, you may have missed it. I hope you didn't, but it was real brief. I could see why you did. That was her dad. That white man that she was fighting and trying to get the island from, and he was calling him all kind of names and stuff. Baby, that was her own daddy. So, yeah, maybe I would have tortured him. Maybe I would have. And if I had to be tortured too, oh, well. Oh, well. So I really think that Gemma was, quote unquote, the villain, but it wasn't of her own making. I think the same thing happened to Charlotte as well. But I think I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Anywho, let's see. We've been on here for 35 minutes. Let me see what time it is. Pardon me. I'm so sorry, y'all. I am on the mend, but I'm not quite all the way there. All right. So I have to try to take deep breaths in this mask. Okay. Yeah, it's 4:35. So we have a few more minutes. I do kind of want to talk about that before we move on to the next question. Because, yeah, there's 12 questions. I don't know if we're going to get into all of this. Excuse me. I don't know if we're going to get to all the questions, but I did want to talk about there is a part in the book where Layla is learning that her mother is not exactly who she has presented herself to be to her children and her family. I do understand that there are times when you might be estranged from family from different reasons, and that's why your children can grow up and have all this other family that they just never know anything about. I don't think that was the case with Layla's mama. I don't even know what her mama name was, child. What was her mama's name? It's frustrating. I can't remember that lady's name now. Hold on. I don't remember Layla's mother's name. But I do think that Layla's mother was doing a lot of lying. And she was a dream walker and a very strong dream walker. So she could control her children when they went to sleep. I'm really irritated with her mom that she let Layla think something was wrong with her and let that baby think she was crazy this whole time, just so, because she wanted her to be normal. I don't think she wanted her to be normal. She didn't want Layla messing up what she had created for herself. It was easy for her to get up and move away from those people because then she could leave that old version of herself behind. Nobody had to know she was a dream walker. She could just dream walk and tippity tap through people's dreams and manipulate and control them without anybody being the wiser. And I think that's just what she did. She could have felt trapped in her destiny. She could have felt trapped by her legacy, but we'll never know because she was a liar. And she didn't leave no notes or nothing. She would tell Layla stories about this queen of Africa or the queen of the night. So she was kind of sort of telling her stories, but she just left her so vulnerable to so many bad things that ended up happening to her. Let me see. Layla had two brothers, Will and somebody else. Yeah, I should know this lady's name. I don't. Probably because I was mad at her a little bit. But let's talk about real quickly when Layla was learning things about her subdued mother. She learned that her mother liked to drink and party and have fun when she was in South Carolina. She learned that her mother had a lot of boyfriends and whatnot. One thing too she learned is that her mother read a story about a boy who flew too close to the sun and then she wanted to do it too, and she ended up jumping off the roof with some wings and contraptions she had made, and she got a moon-shaped scar on her head. The story that her mother, let me get myself on this big screen because you need to see my face. There we go. The story that her mother had read was the story of Icarus. So just to refresh y'all, Icarus is the son of Daedalus. Daedalus was the man who built the maze that the Monitor lived in. The Monitor was the half man, half bull, son of a lady and Zeus. It's always Zeus. Anytime there's a random child in Greek mythology, it's because of Zeus. If he wasn't raping Rita as a swan, he was doing it as a shimmer. Zeus was in the streets. Zeus was in the streets, and he had a lot of mistresses and a lot of children. Hercules, his name is actually Heracles. It means glory to Hera. Zeus thought if he named one of his bastards after Hera, she wouldn't be so mad, but she was mad, and she took it out on everybody. Anywho, so Daedalus is the guy who built the maze that the Monitor had to live in. By the way, y'all, the Monitor was a baby. He was a baby. He was a vegetarian bull who lived in a dark maze and ate whatever he could get his hands on. He didn't want to eat them people. He didn't have no choice. He was hungry and he lived in hedges. Anyway, that story always makes me mad because I'm just like, that was just a little baby. He got born. He just got born. He too was in a prison. I think that's part of the other part of the story too, is that his home, which was made for him, was his prison. He was captive, and the only way he got free was in death. Anywho, because Daedalus helped, was it Perseus? Whoever had to kill the Monitor, I think it was Perseus. he helped him get out of the maze and kill the Monitor. Daedalus and his son Icarus got locked up in a tower, and they was always watching the birds fly about and be free. And so Daedalus was an inventor, but he was trapped in a tower, and he invented these wax wings, like so that his son could fly free like the birds, because Daedalus was like, I'm too old to do it, but you do it, son. And he said, please don't fly too high to the sun because your wings will melt, and please don't fly too low to the ocean or you'll drown. And did Icarus listen to his daddy? No, he didn't. And he flew too high to the sun, and then his wings melted, and he fell, and he died, and he drowned in the sea. So the whole lesson of that is supposed to be about hubris and you doing what you want without regards to who it might affect. That's supposed to be the lesson. But really, Daedalus had his freedom, not Daedalus, Icarus had his freedom, and he was cherishing it and not listening. So, sometimes I think those Greek mythologies is just cruel to be cruel to prove. Well, you could have proved a point a different way. But anyway, it's a good lesson. It's about the lesson of hubris. In this story's case, I think it's very interesting how we have Gemma and Charlotte holding so tightly onto Scotia that it becomes their prison. And in this case, Gemma, who is the mother, is the one who is committing the act of hubris. And the children, the daughter, Lavender, has to be the one to calm her down and be like, hey, everybody is telling your own mom, hey, you are risking madness to get back at this man when you could just leave this island and be free for real, free from this island, free from any attachments to it. But she didn't want that. And again, I can't blame her. I don't know that she was committing an act of hubris per se. I think it was more revenge. And yes, she did want that land. Yes, she did want an island. She wanted somewhere that she was safe from white people because she was an enslaved person and she didn't want to deal with white people no more. And I just have a lot of sympathy for Gemma. I really think that had she felt like she had another choice, she would have took it. But what choices did the enslaved people really have? I mean, what did they have? What kind of choice did they have? So I have a lot of sympathy and empathy for Gemma. Please don't let me find the TARDIS because I'm going right back. I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to disappear from this timeline, but I'm going to go back and we're going to stop slavery. That's exactly what we're going to do. I don't care if I don't exist. I don't care. I don't. And that might mess up y'all's timeline. It's already kind of messed up anyway, so can it get worse? Let me quit messing with the universe. I'm just playing the universe. Don't listen to me. But except for that time machine part, please help me with that, because boy, I'm gonna have to beat up Doctor Who and get that time machine. Anywho, I really like the twist on the Daedalus and Icarus story, and in this in the Last Dreamwalker, where we have the parent being the one committing act of hubris. And also, so did Layla's mom. According to Charlotte, Layla's cousin, Layla's mama was in these streets. They forced a man to commit suicide because Layla was mad that, not Layla, her mother was mad that he used her and went on to the next girl, and she was pregnant, so she had to get rid of that baby, and she wanted her revenge on him. So Layla thought her mom had been assaulted. Her cousin Charlotte was like, nope, your mama went willing to let that man willingly come to her bed. She's mad because he was stepping out on her. I believe her cousin. Let's talk about her cousin some more, since I don't know, where's my time at, y'all? We probably have another 15, 20 minutes. Anyway, her cousin Charlotte was super, super close to Layla's mother. And that is because their mothers were twins. So these two were genetically sisters, even though they were probably raised as cousins. And that happens quite a bit as well in rural small towns where cousins are often raised as siblings. Anywho, Layla's mother decides to leave the island. I think she went off to college and got married. And this is after Layla and Charlotte did a lot of dream walking together, manipulating people's dreams. For those of you who have not had a chance to finish the book, Layla learned how to knit by walking in people's dreams. And as she discovered who she was when she got older, she learned how to do all kind of things, getting all kind of valuable experiences just from walking in people's dreams. So she was getting all kind of information and knowledge. And Layla's mother and her cousin Charlotte used to do these things together. They were so close because, again, the gift of dream walking does not happen to all the women in the family. So everybody could not understand what was happening. Everybody could not understand how lonely it could be having that gift and that responsibility. The aunties who I loved the aunties. I loved Auntie Teresa and Auntie Jane. They were so funny. And I think there's a question about them in here too. We'll probably get to them as well. I really did like them quite a bit, the aunts. I love them because they were comedic foibles, but also they represented what happens when people do commit acts of hubris and they don't take into account how it might affect other people around them. I believe it was Auntie Jane who had a drinking problem. I think she was drinking because she missed her husband, but also she could, even though she wasn't a dream walker, she could hear glimpses. She could do things slightly. And sometimes that's a little creepy. And people who often have, I'll call them extraordinary powers, they do things to numb them. They do things like drugs or drinking. I think alcohol is probably a drug too. But let's not argue over semantics. But they do things because it is hard trying to pretend to be normal when you're not. As we found out with poor Charlotte, they locked her up in a hospital, I think because she was so depressed that Layla's mother left the island. They didn't know what to do with her. She was having bad dreams. She was walking in people's dreams and making bad things happen, or just having really bad dreams. So they locked her up in a hospital and pumped her full of drugs. And that is where that long feud came in. That is where the bitterness came from. That's why Charlotte wanted to be by herself and thought everybody was liars, because she was betrayed after she had done so many things to help Layla's mother, including probably definitely helping abort that baby that she got pregnant with. But God knows how many other people they were influencing and molding and shaping. And Layla's mother promised Charlotte that she would always love her. Well, if you love Charlotte so much, why'd you let her get locked up and stay locked up in that mental institution? That's not love. You could have went and took her out. You could have went and got her out, but you didn't. And that is why Charlotte was turned so bitter and awful and evil to people, because she felt abandoned and lied to and betrayed. And so the only thing she had left was her island, which was also her prison. Anywho, let's see. How were you affected by the novel's alternating timeline, with chapters told from the point of view of Layla as well as her Gullah ancestor, Gemma? What are the similarities and differences between the two women? I love that alternating back and forth. It was reminiscent of how Gemma and Layla were having mental health issues and not being able to tell what was real and what wasn't, what was a dream and what was waking reality. The similarities between the two were that they were both very strong dream walkers, and I would say headstrong as well. They both loved their families, even though they were not understood by them. The differences in Gemma and her ancestor, Layla and her ancestor, Gemma, I think Layla had more compassion. And it's easy for Layla to have more compassion because she was not enslaved. I have a hard time saying mean things about Gemma. I really do. Because she was enslaved. And if her daddy hadn't enslaved her, then neither one of them would have had to go crazy. If her daddy hadn't done horrible things that caused the birth of Gemma, then none of this would have happened. It's all his fault. It's all his old raggedy fault. Anywho, Gemma gets all the grace from me. I I don't know. I feel like she's kind of like Magneto. She was right. And she did some horrible things to get what she wanted. And I can't say that I wouldn't have done the same in her situation. So, all right, let's see. Let's move on. The aunts, Jane and Teresa, became mother figures to Layla. What do you see? We already talked about that. They're comedic foible for me, but also examples of family legacy and connection and what it can look like when it goes right, even if it's not 100% right. Let's see, Charlotte. What was your first impression of Layla's estranged cousin Charlotte, and how did your reaction to Charlotte change over the course of the novel? Well, at first when I met her, I thought she was staunch. She was a staunch opponent. Like, what's her name? Little Edie from that documentary about the Kennedy cousins, Little Edie and her mama. I forget what it's called. Grey Gardens. You should watch that. It's really good. But she was a staunch opponent, staunch adversary. But once I started hearing more of Charlotte's background story, I felt sorry for her too. I felt compassion for her. I think that she definitely was betrayed by Layla's mother and by the rest of the family. She's fighting to preserve their island and keep real estate developers from taking it from them, and they locked her up in a mental institution. I do understand that they didn't know what to do, and because she was so powerful, they were probably scared of her. And I think Jane and Teresa did the best with what they had. I don't remember where Charlotte's mother was. I think Charlotte's mother's name was Bliss or Comfort. She was one of the conjoined twins. Anyway, I think it was just everybody making the best of a really bad situation. And Charlotte got caught up in it, and she was trapped very much like the Minotaur on that island, and the only way out for her was a type of death as well. All right. Layla's relationship with her two older brothers strengthens as family secrets unfold. How did their close-knit relationship affect you? What was your reaction to Layla's evolving friendship with Victor? Also, I forgot to mention that this guide was written by Stephanie Sendaula, Sendaula. Thank you so much, Stephanie. This guide was provided by Macmillan for reading groups, and that's what we're doing here. I forgot to mention that, and I'm sorry if I mispronounced your last name. Anyway, to answer the question, Layla's relationship with the brothers was close, but again, her mother fostered and facilitated a divide between them by not believing her dreams. Her mother knew exactly what was going on, yet she let Layla's brothers and her father think that something was wrong with Layla. She drove a wedge between them. Again, I think that Layla's mom liked male attention. According to Charlotte, she loved it. And it didn't matter if it was her husband or her sons or whatever. I think she probably maybe viewed Layla as competition in a weird way. I just really think that she shortchanged her daughter for no reason, did not tell her of the inherent power that she had. She said she was protecting her, but I find that really hard to believe. How are you protecting her, but watching her go through all this struggle and mental health issues, knowing good and dang well that little Black girls can get thrown in institutions or have it hard enough without you holding back a key piece of information that might have made things make sense. I think that, like I keep saying, I think Charlotte was telling the truth about Layla's mama. She wasn't trying to get under her skin. Well, she might have been. She might have been trying to press Layla, but she also probably was telling the truth. Anywho, let's see. We got about 5 minutes. And I can hurry up. We got about 10 minutes, actually. Let's see. Oh, you know what, y'all? My HDM cord. I wonder if that's why the thing is slacking, because I don't have my HDM cord plugged in. Either way, the live stream is going. Let's see. I think we're going to maybe do one or two more questions. Maybe just one question. I'm trying to think of one. We talked about Lavender. Lavender is the one who was able to get the colonel to sign the deed over to Gemma. I just think that poor Lavender had to do some things too. At the end of the novel, Layla ends up caring for her cousin Charlotte, despite ongoing tensions between the two of them. What did you make of that decision? Would you have done the same? Have you ever cared for a relative in your personal life? How did it impact you? I think that Layla showed a kindness that her mother never could by caring for Charlotte. I think that Layla understood that she had to make amends to Charlotte for what her mother had done to both of them. Layla could have put Charlotte in a nursing home. But I think that would have been hell for Charlotte because she got tortured when she was in that sanitarium. And I think that Layla was able to keep Charlotte on the island, and then they could go dream walking together at night, and it strengthened Layla's abilities while also honoring her commitment to family and that island. I think that it helped anchor Layla, who seemed to be a bit adrift in life. But since her mother was psychologically torturing her and was not truthful, I don't really think that was Layla's fault either. I think that her brothers were being awful to her and not believing her and telling her to grow up because they were being encouraged by their mother. I believe that Layla's mother was, again, she liked male attention, but she was a boy mom. And Layla got the short end of the stick of a lot of things, but not in the end. Not in the end. Let's end on that. Let's read the last sentence that Layla said that sums everything up. Excuse me. Yeah, we'll read this last page. It's not that long. Layla stared down at her cousin. Family looked after family. But the truth was far more complicated. In those dreams, her mother sat at the knee of Granny Bliss and learned the way of the Dreamwalker, as did Charlotte and Layla. I think that was her mama's name was Charlotte. No, it wasn't. And Layla, hovering at the edges in the shadow, listened and learned too. Something happened to her that night too. The gift had changed yet again. Day and night, there was a buzzing on her skin, like faint electrical current. And the dreams were magnificent. She could walk wherever she wanted, in whoever she wanted, with just a whisper in a dreamer's ear. She could bend desire, reshape thoughts. And with Charlotte near, she was stronger still, hopscotching dreams through the night, plucking memories and fears and hopes, experiencing adventures through others, acquiring amazing amounts of knowledge. She reveled in this new feeling of power. Not settling, not even a little, she murmured. And guess what, Mom? Still no dental insurance, Layla laughed out loud. A flicker of movement caught her eye and she looked down. Charlotte had shifted in her wheelchair. For a fraction of a second, she seemed to be watching her. Her eyes glittered with awareness. Layla met her eye and touched the older woman's arm, feeling the sharp quiver of power brighten beneath her hand. This is ours, Charlotte, she whispered, forever ours. Layla waved her arm, taking in Scotia Island, and everything beyond it. Anything we want is ours. We are the Last Dreamwalkers. And that is where we will end it. I love that book so much. I hope that you enjoyed it too. Let me just do one more thing. Is that what I wanted to do? Not really, friends. Not really. I'm trying to add the stage. That's what I want to do. We did the discussion questions. Okay, so if you like this book, let me make this big. Boom. If you like this book, and I hope you did, here are 4 more books that we have at the library, either in print form or audio or ebook form. The Monsters We Defy. We actually did this book for our book club several years ago. It's wonderful. Magical realism. Another magical black girl saves the day. My Soul to Keep by Tananarive Due. I believe that Tananarive Due, I believe we have that as an audio ebook or an e-audio. I'm sorry, y'all. I just caught a typo. This Cursed House by Dale Sandine. Again, Southern Gothic elements with magical black girl realism, and then Root Work by Tracy Cross. All of these have connections to either magical realism and or hoodoo. We kind of didn't talk too much about some of the hoodoo. They did talk about hoodoo quite a bit in this book. They talked about a lot of hoodoo traditions as far as the blue bottles. We've mentioned that before, especially if you've been able to come to any of the book clubs that we've had before. But there were a bunch of hoodoo elements, blue bottles. I think they talked about not sweeping people's feet with brooms, just little things here and there. If you know, you know. And if you don't, I ain't finna tell you, because some things are closed practice and you got to keep it closed. Other people will steal your stuff. I do like how they were combining concerns of the current Gullah-Geechee Nation folks and how their land is being taken from them by erosion and evil real estate developers. So that is something that was quite current as well. Rita Woods has written several other books. I think this one might have been her 3rd book. If you enjoyed this, go check out some of her other work. I'm sure you will enjoy her storytelling there as well. Let's see. Boop and boop. Thank you so much for joining me. We are going to end it here. Next month, we're going to be reading To Shape a Dragon's Breath by Mona Quill Black Goose. This is for Native American Heritage Month. We are going to be doing a group read with a book club at the Rawlings Library. It's I forget the name of it. I'm so sorry. But we'll be doing the book club with them. That's why it's going to be on a Tuesday instead of a Thursday. So we'd love to have you. The book next month for November, again, is going to be To Shape a Dragon's Breath. I look forward to seeing you then. Let me get out of this big giant screen. I look forward to seeing you for the next book club. I'm going to turn this book in. Hang on. There we go. I'm going to turn this book in so you can check it out. All right. I will see you guys here next month. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you so much for giving me a bit of your time. And again, thank you, replay viewers, for coming and watching the replay of the live stream. I will see y'all next month. Until then, keep reading. Come by the library and say hi. I'd love to see you. And the library would love to have you. All right. See you guys later. Bye.